You ever wonder who's really keeping the world's biggest online store in check? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this massive, almost hidden workforce that acts as its guardian. So, let's just dive right in.
I mean, seriously, think about it for a second. Millions, literally millions of new things pop up on Amazon every single day. So who's the person making sure that, that new toy for your kid is actually safe, or that some new gadget meets all the legal regulations? Well, it turns out there's this huge global team working 24/7 to solve this exact puzzle. And today, we're going to see how they pull it off. Okay, so here's the game plan. First, we're going to get a handle on just how big this safety challenge really is. Then, we'll shadow a compliance associate for a day, see what they actually do. After that, we'll check out the tools they use, and hey, we'll even explore if this could be a gig for you.
All right, first up, the Global Safety Challenge. The sheer size of Amazon's marketplace, it's just incredible. But that size creates an equally massive problem. How on earth do you make sure every single product, every single one, is compliant with all the different local laws and safety rules all over the world? Because if you get that wrong, the consequences, well, they could be huge.
So the team right there on the front lines, they're called the GSRC. That's Global Solutions and Risk Compliance. The easiest way to think of them is like the immune system of the marketplace. They're the ones making sure every single product is playing by the rules, no matter where it ends up being sold. And when I say global, I really mean it. This isn't just one office somewhere. The GSRC team is literally spread across 8 different countries. We're talking places like India, Poland, Costa Rica, you name it. And they have to be everywhere, right? Because the rules in one country can be completely different from the rules somewhere else. So what's their mission? It's really 2 sides of the same coin. On one side, it's all about safety. Keeping customers like you and me safe, keeping the sellers safe, even keeping Amazon's own employees safe. But on the other side, it's about protecting Amazon itself from, the massive legal and financial headaches that come from not following the rules. Okay, so that's the 30,000-foot view. Now let's zoom right in. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the day-to-day. We've talked about why this team exists. Now let's talk about what they actually do. Like, what does a senior compliance associate's day really look like?
Basically, their main job boils down to these 4 steps. First, they play detective. They're digging through product info, regulatory documents, all that stuff. Second, they take all that information and check it against their rulebook, their standard operating procedures. Third, they use Amazon's own tools to classify the product. Things like, is this thing hazardous? Does it need a special warning label? And finally, step 4, they log everything. Every detail is recorded so they can track how they're doing.
But, and this is important, it's not just about ticking boxes on a checklist. Not at all. These folks are problem solvers. They're the ones who raise their hand and say, hey, this doesn't fit our normal process. They're always looking for ways to improve the system, to make it smarter. And they're constantly sharing what they know, training and mentoring each other. It's a really, really collaborative job. All right, so if you're going to be one of these marketplace guardians, what kind of tools do you need in your belt? It's not enough to just know the rule book. You've got to have this really interesting mix of tech skills and detective skills to actually make it all work on such a huge scale.
It's kind of like you're part tech wizard, part private eye. On the tech side, yeah, you've got to be good with Excel. We're talking pivot tables, handling giant spreadsheets. Knowing some basic SQL to pull data is a huge plus. But then there's the other side, the investigator mindset. You need an almost obsessive attention to detail. You've got to be a natural problem solver, and you can't be afraid to just dive deep and find the real facts. Okay, we're heading to the home stretch here. We've looked at the mission, what the day-to-day is like, and the skills you need. So you might be thinking, hey, could I do that? Let's actually look at the qualifications for joining this GSRC team. So they kind of break it down into 2 groups. You've got your basic qualifications. You need to know a little bit about product compliance, have a bachelor's degree, and be fluent in English. But then there's the stuff that makes you really stand out. Things like having a couple of years of actual experience in compliance, or being an Excel whiz, or knowing your way around SQL. It's pretty clear they want people who haven't just read the rules, but have actually put them into practice. And when you really think about it, everything this GSRC team does, it all ties right back to Amazon's #1 mission. That whole customer-centric thing? That's not just about getting your package fast or finding a good deal. The most basic part of it is trust. It's you trusting that what you're buying is safe, that it's real, and that it's legal.
This team, the GSRC, they're basically the engine that keeps that trust running all over the world. So it leaves us with one final thought, really. Is being a guardian of that trust, could that be your next move? It's a pretty fascinating and definitely critical job when you think about it.